Hi everybody. Hope the short video of introduction of the first week course outline would have instigated a curiosity in you as a child has got the natural curiosity. Now the curiosity in you is to know the concept of early childhood care and education. I can hear your inner voice asking me, why should we emphasize on the care and education aspect during early years? Dear learners, I'm sure you would get the answer at the end of this module. Early childhood refers to the early stage of growth or development of a human being. Early childhood indicates the period of a child from the prenatal stage to the age of 8 years. The whole period of early childhood that comprises of 4 distinct substages are considered to be the most critical period in the lifespan of a human being. The 4 substages are illustrated and it is shown to you. The 4 substages are pregnancy to perinatal, 0 to 3 years, and from 3 years to 6 years onwards, and then from the 6th year to the 8th year. The National Policy on Education considers early years to be the period from 0 to 6 years, and following its guidelines, this course on early childhood care and education also considers early years to be from 0 to 6 years. The present module titled Early Childhood Care and Education in India was formulated over the following learning outcomes. At the completion of this module, the learner would be able to recognize the need to emphasize upon 0 to 6 years as the age of early learning with insights into the demographic and developmental perspective. Second outcome is that you will be able to comprehend the historical foundations of ECCE in India from conventional to contemporary philosophy. Third is that you will be able to understand how education imparted at an early age can be the precursor of a productive adulthood. Fourth one is to identify the existing ECCE providers and be aware of their objectives and principles. The last outcome would be that you will be able to analyze the legal frameworks for ECCE and identify the challenges of implementation with a future outlook. Now the most important question that arises in you is, why do we need to emphasize upon 0 to 6 years? The need to focus on children of 0 to 6 years has to be looked from both demographic and developmental perspective. Now let us focus into the demographic perspective. As per Census 2011, 164.48 million children of 0 to 6 years live in India, with 1/4 of them in need of immunization and maternal health care services, and the remaining require preschool education services. 1.83 million children under the age of 5 died in India, and 46% of them within the age of 3 were found to be underweight, which really has to be focused by the government. The dropout rate at primary education level is very high due to the reason that no strong foundations on physical, social and cognitive domains had been laid in their early years. Now looking into the developmental perspective of why we need to emphasize on 0 to 6 years. The earliest years of a child's life is said to be a crucial stage, as the survival rate of a child gets determined at this stage. Most important, the foundation of his or her learning gets laid by developing physical, social, cognitive and emotional skills needed for successful living. Now let us understand the significance of early age by comprehending the developmental facts. The first fact is that human brain completes its 85% of the development by the end of 5 years with the synaptic connections at its peak. The second fact is that 50% of a child's cognitive development is determined by his or her environment. Optimal brain development equates to 1,000 neurons connecting every second has to be well understood by us. The fourth fact is that the brain development in the early years serves as a window of opportunity to be accomplished at a particular period, after which the development or improvement becomes more and more difficult. Now, after knowing about the perspective and why we need to emphasize on ECCE, let us now look into the historical foundations of ECCE with particular reference to India. Early childhood period spanning the age group of 0 to 6 years has gained dramatic significance over a few decades owing to the changing social, economic and demographic context. But tracing the origin of early childhood care and education becomes imperative to realize the rationale behind and derive much more importance to put the program on a whole on the right track and on the right platform to foster the holistic development of every child born in this country. First is conventional philosophy. India's past heritage acknowledges the period of 0 to 6 years as a foundation period for the inculcation of fundamental values and social skills. The belief was that these values are imbibed from the family. Very simple, it's imbibed from the family. Moreover, indulgence was a popular mode of parenting against a disciplinary approach. The learning experiences provided were informal and was primarily through grandmother stories, lullabies and traditional infant games. But what happened in the social revolution philosophy? As slowly the family structure changed from joint to nuclear due to urbanization and industrialization, the responsibility of child rearing was no more a family issue but became a sort of delegated responsibility. For children of higher economic status, the responsibility was transferred to paid caregivers. For the children of lower socio-economic status, care was given by their older siblings. This is where the seed of introducing the concept of daycare in the form of early education came into being. With the visit of Madam Maria Montessori to India and her meeting with Mahatma Gandhi, Gujubai Vadeka and Tharabai Modak, pioneered the movement of having an organized initiative to foster early learning and experiences. Thus, preschool education was made available to a large number of children, even in the rural parts of the country. But this movement got initiated as a full-fledged voluntary effort. Now let us look into the digital revolution, what happened in digital revolution time. In the year 1953, Central Social Welfare Board was set to grant an aid for the voluntary organizations working for children. At present, India was found to be successful in developing a supportive policy framework by launching the major initiative, what we call it as Integrated Child Development Services, abbreviated as ICDS, in 1975. This program targets the all-round development of a child by adopting life cycle perspective. But why do we say it is a life cycle perspective? Because it involves pregnant and lactating mothers, adolescent girls, and children of 0 to 6 years. ECE is one component of ICDS. And then again, National Policy of Education 1986 recognized the importance of ECCE and emphasized joyful learning by discouraging the formal instruction of 3 R's, that is 3 readiness. The National ECCE Policy 2013 aimed to reach out the targeted population of over 170 million at both state and at center level through Anganwadis. Though ECCE policy was able to put the broad policy into perspective, the implementation has not been up to the mark, with a lot of gaps to be filled in. These gaps actually gave room for the private sector to play a massive role. The enormous role of private industry in early childhood care and education, popularly branded as preschools or kindergartens, are run by an individual or an institution, or it is a franchised preschool chain. However, the role of private industry has cautioned the government to set up regulatory policies in governing the functioning of preschools in its wider context. The next video actually would bring the philosophy of early childhood care and education as derived from the contributions of eminent educationists. And the most important question of how an education imparted at the age of 2 and 3 years be the precursor of productive adulthood would be answered. Hoping to meet you again. Thank you.